Welcome to Dawn of a Story. This is more than a podcast. It's a place where we speak the truth, tell the stories that shape us, and honor the moments that made us who we are. I created the space because I believe storytelling is how we connect, how we heal, and how we remember who we are. Some stories are still being written. Some are full of laughter. Some have changed everything, but all of them matter. Whether it's my story or one of my guests, my hope is that you hear something that resonates, that reminds you that you are not alone and encourages you to tell your story too. So settle in because every story starts somewhere, and this one starts now. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Dawn of a Story. I'm your host, Dawn Pascal. I'm so very grateful that you decided to spend your time with me and my guest this week, Cindy Caprio Woulfe. Every show, we will be exploring a new theme, and this week's theme is Small Changes Add Up. Sometimes transformation doesn't come in grand gestures. It's built one small choice at a time. My guest today reminds us that even the tiniest acts of self-care and awareness can lead to profound change. From the pages of her book to her daily practice as a wellness advocate, my guest shows that growth doesn't have to be loud to be life-changing. So let me tell you a little about my guest. Cindy is an author, certified meditation teacher, and wellness advocate. Recently launched her first book, In the Weeds, where she offers compassionate guidance for mothers seeking balance amid the beautiful chaos of motherhood. So without further ado, let's get started. Hey, Cindy, so happy to see you.
Hi, Dawn. Happy to see you too. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Happy New Year. How are things going?
Good. I'm very excited for a new year.
Yes. Oh, amen. Me too. Me too. And I'm so
It's been a
happy.
long one.
It's been a very life-altering shedding year,
Yes.
which kind of makes sense.
On par.
2025 has been the year of the snake, so I'm not surprised that we all are
Right.
going through some sort of transformation or another. So while we're talking about that and things that are new, your new book, In the Weeds, was born out of, I guess, real life chaos and motherhood. What
Mhm.
small change first helped you find that balance again?
So, first of all, I didn't know I would need any kind of balance. I thought I was just going to glide into motherhood and it would be perfect. And that wasn't the case. I think what I realized first, very first, was that my nervous system took such a hit after having my first baby. And then all of a sudden, spending all of my time and energy taking care of a little a little soul, someone
Right,
else, which
right,
was beautiful at the time, but I didn't realize how much I was losing myself, and I didn't realize the hit my nervous system would take. So my very first, I guess, dive into change was when I gave myself a little time out each day and I found quiet. And I realized how much that quiet reset my nervous system. And I think that's what happens sometimes in life when you just go, go, go. You don't realize that you're
right.
losing yourself until you find the quiet. And that's when you start to hear your voice again. And that's when you can say, where am I? Like, where have I gone? Because if you just keep going, the voice never appears. And then you wake up 10 years later and you're like, I'm gone.
Right, right. And I can absolutely attest, and I know that I've said this many times before. I completely lost myself in my business. So to me, that was my baby that I had been wanting to create my whole life, and I gave my
Hmm.
entire self to it. And it takes a
Right.
lot of courage to take that step back and say, I'm worth it. I'm worth being a
Yes.
priority in my own life. So
Yes.
congratulations to you for doing that.
And even just saying that, even just recognizing that and saying that was powerful to me. Like, just making that
Right.
statement was very powerful. It was like admitting something that I knew deep down already.
Well, they say awareness is the first step. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes I wish that I wasn't so aware of so many things
Right.
that were going around me. I joke about that.
Yes, yes,
So that was a small change, huge
yes,
impact, but small
yes.
little step forward. So how did the momentum start from there?
So even just acknowledging that I deserved to find myself was huge. And then I remember I don't know, I went to see someone for some energy work
Mhm.
and they said, "Well, could you just find an hour on the weekends to take your journal and go to a coffee shop?" And I was like, "Well, I can't because the baby wakes up this time and then I feed him this." And they're like, "Well, isn't your husband home on the weekends?" And I said, "Yeah, but he's never been alone with the baby yet. He's not." And they're like, "Doesn't the baby take a nap? Like you could honestly hand the baby over to your husband and trust him, and you could go and grab your journal for like an hour." And
Yeah.
I remember thinking, okay, like I don't think that's going to do
Right.
anything for me, but it did.
Yeah.
And it also showed me, oh, I can give this to someone else for a little while.
Right.
And so I started with that small step. And when I returned after that hour, I realized how much better I felt when I returned. And that's when the click happened like, "Oh, I'm not just escaping my child, I'm coming back a better version."
Right.
Like, now I show up better to be his mother. And
Right.
from there, I was just like, "Okay, what else can I do? Like, where else can I come back as a better version?"
I love the analogy of when you're on the plane and God forbid, if there was an emergency, the air mask drops. And they always say,
Right.
put the mask on yourself first and then put it
Yes.
on your child, right? And I
My
have
mom
all
always says that too.
and
Mhm.
I've always referenced that for myself. Now, did I always
Mhm.
take that advice? No, I absolutely did not. But I learned the hard way. That's what you need to do. You come as a better version of yourself.
Mhm. And it was almost like it's my responsibility to be the best I can. Like, I'm not just doing it for me, I'm
Right.
doing it for him. So
Oh,
here I think I'm trying to be the perfect mom by always being with him,
right.
but what he needs is a balanced mom. Because it was easy to be happy and engaged when I was with him, but then when I would put him down, that's when I was like, "Who is this person sitting here?" During
Yeah.
nap time, I'm, like, zoned out, I'm not connected to myself, so the better I got, the easier it was to interact with him and then still feel good when I put him down for a nap.
That's amazing. Why do you think people often overlook the simple things? That's simple, right? You took an
Yes,
hour
very simple.
to write in a
Mhm.
journal. Why do you think people so often overlook that?
Well, I think and this is what I realize about myself too. I think because I waited till I was a little older to have kids,
Mhm.
I already knew how to get myself balanced. Like I already knew myself very well. So I think for some people you keep going in your life and you don't even realize how unbalanced you are.
Right.
And then comes the baby and you just keep going. And I think that's why people wake up sometimes once their kids are gone or maybe once they're teenagers and the kids no longer need them as much and they're like, "Where did I go? Like
Right.
how did I get here? Where did my dreams go? Where did my soul go?" So I didn't want that to happen to me, but I can see how that happens. It's very easy to get on that distraction wheel where you just keep going.
So how was it then when you had the second baby, right? How many children do
Mhm.
you have? 2 or 3?
2
Wow.
total. Yeah.
Congratulations.
My
That's
second
wonderful.
was enough for all of us. He's wonderful, but I was like, "Okay, my hands are totally full."
Yeah. Well, was it easier
Yeah.
with him?
No.
No. Okay.
Well, it wasn't easier, but I had started to put some of those steps in place.
Mhm.
Had I not, I think I would have lost my mind
Right.
because the sheer chaos that came with the second, that's when I was really like, this is crazy town. Like, this is the most intense feeling I've ever had, especially once my husband went back to work. He was only able to take about a week with the second one, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Wait a minute. I have a baby to hold, and then I have a toddler that's, like, zooming circles
Yeah.
around me. Like, how do I fit in
Balance it
myself
all.
at all?"
Right.
So even though that was probably the most stressful time in my life, but had I not begun to put those small steps, it would have been really bad. So
Yeah.
I think because I had the awakening with my first, I was able to recognize that more quickly after the second and say, okay, what else do I need? And now what does it look like with 2 kids?
So how did life progress, motherhood
Hmm.
to meditation, wellness,
Hmm.
advocate, etcetera? How did that migration start for you?
So, because I had the awareness that, okay, I want to stay connected to myself, I want to be the best mom I can. Once my second came, I think he wasn't even a year yet. And I found a meditation teacher training course. And I said, ooh, that sounds really interesting. I looked at the times. It was 2 nights a week after my husband came home. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to try this. Like, it feels like when your schedule's so full, you're so overwhelmed that you can't possibly fit anything else in. It feels like one more thing is gonna tip, but I think sometimes adding something small in actually helps create balance.
Mhm.
So it wasn't so much that I had no time, it was like I had no time I was giving to myself.
Right.
So rather than have my husband come home and me go watch a show and zone out with a glass of wine, I went to meditation class and I got to sit in silence for 4 hours and learn how to meditate, learn how to get deep, learn how to help other people meditate. And that was huge. So I think it was twofold. I think it was one that I was meditating, but two that I was saying, okay, I'm leaving now 2 nights a week. I knew I had this class. I've committed to it. I'm going whether it's snowing or someone has a meeting and those two things together were really powerful.
Now you're armed with more tools,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
how does life transform and the
Mhm.
family, and how does now a business start?
Well, so the book itself, I realized I had been putting notes in my phone all along. I didn't even know why.
Mm.
But I had this strong feeling after my first like, why didn't anyone tell me this? Or why are other people struggling like this?
Right.
And what I realized was one, they were struggling, they just weren't saying it. And two, I was like, I'm not going to let anyone else feel this way. Like if there's something I can do to help other people, I'm going to make sure I get this message out. So I started just dropping the notes into my phone, almost like when I look back now, it looks like someone else's voice. And then it
Wow.
was only a couple years ago, once my boys both started school, that I said, that's it. I'm going to do it now. I'm going to put this down in a book. And it's become my mission now. I don't want anyone to ever feel alone or feel like they're doing it wrong. Because the fact is, it is really hard. And you're not doing it wrong because it feels hard.
Wow.
But there are things you can do to make yourself stronger because it's never going to get easier. Like, especially now, I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old, and it changes. I'm not chasing after them at full speed, but it does not get that much easier. But I've gotten better at handling it.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. When you said I was dropping notes in my phone and I didn't really
Mhm.
know, I think you knew.
Yes. Yes.
I think
Something
deep
deep down.
down,
Yes. Yes.
because we do know. We do,
Oh, no.
yeah, we do know, like, what lands you in front of, a place at a certain time, or, it's just
Mhm.
allowing yourself to be open to what I call like perfect coincidences that sort
Yes.
of just happen.
Synchronicities.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean,
Well, and that's the thing. I think the quieter you get, the more you meditate, the more in touch with yourself you are, the more you see that alignment.
right, right.
So
No,
I feel like
absolutely.
now it's very clear to me when things like that happen. Or when I have a thought, I'm like, okay, this is coming from somewhere and people need to hear this.
Do you ever find yourself feeling that frantic feeling again? And if you
Oh,
do,
absolutely.
okay, well, of course, it's life, I totally get it.
Yes.
What do you do
Yes.
what do you do to bring yourself back down? Because there's gonna be your
Yes.
ritual for it, and then there's gonna
Mhm.
be the ritual that you're going to advise somebody else to do. So, let's talk about your
Well,
ritual first.
there's so many things. One is just realizing this is a moment. So sometimes when things get very intense, especially I've noticed after school, my boys come home full of animosity. It's
Yeah.
never
Oh,
graceful. And I've learned to just I center myself before I make that walk to the bus stop in the afternoon. And I get myself so grounded that when they come off that bus with all those big feelings, I am their calm. I am their steady. So I know it's going to come, but I know I'm not going to react. I'm
wow.
just going to listen and I'm going to absorb and I'm not going to let myself get all frenzied because they're relying on me to be their calm.
Right. Right.
So that centering work before they come home and just knowing, okay, this is what happens after school. Like I'm not going to fix it. This is I want them to tell me their feelings. They've been holding it in all day
Right.
and I know it's going to happen. So centering myself before they come home and recognizing, okay, it's just going to pass. It's going to be like 20 minutes. They're going to have a snack. They're going to calm down a little bit.
Right. Right. Wow.
Yeah. And I
So,
don't take it personally. Try not to take it personally.
well, look, that's the I think
Human.
it's such a loaded statement. I'm not going to take that
Mhm.
personally, but it has nothing to do with you personally. It's whether or
Right.
not you allow that to penetrate you to change
Right.
your feeling about something or change your mood or change your
Right.
reaction or change your whatever you're going to be working on
Yes.
after that. Right, right. No, I
Well,
know.
and it's also too that I want them to come to me.
Sure,
I
of
want
course.
to be their safe space. So I don't want to shut it down and make them perfect little soldiers. I want them to be like 10 years from now when something happens at the end of their day and it's horrible. I want them to be able to come to me
Right.
and know that I'll be the calm.
Look, that's amazing that you have that calming and open way of approaching your children
Mhm.
because, I mean, I grew up in a completely different generation and though, I my parents were always there for me,
Mhm.
there's a difference in being there for you,
Yes.
but also, not neglecting the emotional support that you might need. And I'm not saying that that's
Right.
what my parents did, but the statement back to
Right.
my earlier remark about not taking it personally was always something that our parents said to us. Well, you shouldn't take that so personally. And it's like, well, wait a minute. I want you to
Right.
validate my feelings.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
want you to tell me don't take it personally. I
Right.
want you to validate how I feel. That's it. It's
Right.
it's very different. It's very different.
Very different. And that's actually I talk about this in the book. Right after my second, we had moved to a new home. The baby gates were not up. That was the most stressful
Oh, I
time,
can't even
and
imagine.
I got a text and my boys are very active. My I got a text message from my friend. She lives in Aspen, and her kids are a little older than mine. They have this great life. They travel. So, like, she was one of my someone I looked up to in
Mhm.
terms of, like, motherhood, and she asked me how I was doing, and my oldest one wasn't in preschool yet, and it was really cold, we were stuck in the house, and I said, "You know what? I'm gonna choose to be honest right now, like, how am I doing?" And I just sorta let it all out, and she said, "Motherhood can be a dark hole sometimes."
Wow.
And I was floored, I was like, "Wait, she feels that way? Because her life looks great." So that it felt so validating to me that somebody else felt that way. It was almost like that's a given. It can be a dark hole sometimes. That's it. Like it's
Right.
not about you. You're not doing it wrong. So that validation was huge.
Huge.
And that's part of the book too. Like I just wanted people to know it's okay. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah. Yes, it is
Mhm.
okay not to be okay.
Right.
And it will get better,
Yes,
right?
and it will
Yeah.
pass. It all
Yeah.
passes. Every single phase passes. Now something else comes in its place, but it all passes, and it's all phases.
Yeah, and sometimes when that other thing comes in its place, your reaction to it is
Mhm.
gonna be different because
Yes.
I don't wanna say you've been down that road before. You took that test already. Maybe you passed it. I mean, I believe
Mhm.
life is filled with tests, and I don't mean tests as in,
Right.
like, tests of strength and tests of
Right.
fortitude, and, I mean, like, you are presented with situations
Mhm.
over and over again until you
Patterns.
yeah, yeah, until
Mhm.
maybe you change your way of
Yeah.
reacting or, you know, you're just
Or
you
make yourself stronger
right,
so that you can react better.
right, right,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
And
Alright.
that's I feel like what I did. I could really see the change in them the more I worked on myself.
Oh, no, I mean,
Mhm.
it's so fulfilling and wonderful to hear you say that. I know that we're all very social media focused and everything looks so beautiful and hunky dory. And then you realize, well, that
Yeah.
that can't be 100% real.
And we don't want it to be either,
No, of
though.
course not. No, of
Yeah.
course not. Do you want to talk about the book? Do you want to get into
Sure.
a little bit
Yeah.
more about the book?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Absolutely. So The way it's designed, it's a 30-day practice, which means there's 30 small chapters, and it's meant to be taken in however you need it to. So you can read all the chapters straight through, or you can read one a day. It's very gentle, very easy to read. Let it sit with you. Maybe it changes the way you approach something. And then there's also a journal prompt at the end of each chapter if you want to get deep or you want to reflect. So
Wow.
it's meant to be used however you need in the moment because no one has a lot of time, especially a new mom with little ones. You don't have a time to read like a giant book and then apply everything. Your brain is just not there. So my perfect way to consume it would be a little bit each day.
Right. So not only is it a guideline and a
Mhm.
workbook, but it's also a tool that people can go back and reference.
Yes. Yes, and it's not aggressive, specific advice. It's not like, "Do this." It's, "Here's my story. Here's what I learned from it. Take with this and do what you will."
Mhm.
Like, maybe it just shifts the way you see something, or maybe something I did, you could also do.
Yeah.
But it's meant to be very tailored to you, and the whole message of the book is get to know yourself. Like, figure out what works for you, because you get to be in charge of your house. These are your kids, your house. It's not gonna be one size fits all.
Right. Right. So if I had to choose an underlying theme, would you say that
Mhm.
it's self-compassion? Would you say that it's patience
Yes,
or
all of
both?
that.
Okay.
Definitely self-compassion and connecting with yourself, getting to know yourself. And for me, the biggest thing about motherhood is you might have sides of yourself you don't even know are
Well,
there yet. Like, this can be a time of beautiful transformation.
right.
It doesn't have to just be a survival guide. Like, let's survive this. Let's get through it. Like, no, let's use this and transform and discover a new side of ourselves and
Yeah.
maybe fall in love with ourselves because here we have this little tiny baby we love so unconditionally. Well, maybe it's time to show ourselves that unconditional love because the more we love ourselves, the
Yeah.
more we can give to our kids and everyone, really.
Right, and everyone, absolutely, and
Mhm.
I the word survive is so severe, and I get it.
Mhm.
There's lots of upheaval, there's lots of unrest, there's lots of unknown. We've
Yes.
been through a hell of a lot as a
Mhm.
community, as a nation, as
Yes.
a planet,
As a
right?
people,
As a
as a
people.
human.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a human connection over the
Yes.
past couple
Yes.
of years has really just been
Mhm.
like one knock, another knock, like, it's like,
Right.
"Okay, stop," right? We wanna be able to survive that and get on the other side of it, but the whole
Mhm.
goal really is to be able to thrive. We wanna thrive in our
Yes.
life. We don't
And
just
we
wanna
want to
survive.
right, and I feel like that's the approach, and that's what you see a lot about raising kids is like, "Oh, getting through another day," or
Yeah,
"Can't wait for my wine at night," or 5 o'clock, and that's fine. But for me, I was like, "I wanna enjoy this experience." Like, the more balanced I felt, the more I can be present when my kids show me things or want me to play with them. Like, you wanna show up with full presence, and the only way to do that is to stay in touch with yourself, not
right,
just get through it or escape them. Like, yes, maybe take some time away, but the intention of the time away should be to come back better.
right, right. So
Mhm,
how do you see all of this playing into, like, long-term transformation for yourself, and then
mhm.
obviously, via the book for others? So let's start with you first.
Well, so I think when I realized that fitting the small steps in really work, I just couldn't stop myself. I was like, "What else can I add in? Or what else can I change the way I think so that it trickles over to my real life, not
Yeah,
just motherhood?"
right.
And I think that's one of the other gifts too is the lessons you learn from becoming a mom apply to the rest of your life. Like, change you on a fundamental level, and you get to decide how it changes you. So, does it turn you into a burnt out moody, depressed person? Or does it turn you into a more patient, accepting, maybe a person who no longer cares what other people think? There's a whole
Right,
chapter called Stop Giving an F What Other People Think.
right.
And
Amen.
I think, yeah, right? I mean, that's huge and it's easy to say, But for me, I've always had that a little bit. I'm also an Aquarius, so I just don't really care that much what people think, but a little bit. But when you become a mom and your kid is having tantrums in public or they're not doing
Mm,
what all the other kids are doing, like there's something that happens where you can make a choice to either handle the situation the way worrying about what everyone around you thinks, or you can say, I'm just going to hone in on my child. I'm going to do what they need, and I'm going to tune out what everyone else thinks because I know my child best.
right,
And I feel like the stronger you get at that, the more you can do that for your own decisions. Like, I'm going to make this decision in my life, and I know there's going to be backlash, and I don't care because I know myself well enough to know this is true for me. So
right.
I think your child actually helps you care for yourself the way you care for them
Wow.
and just tune it out because it's always going to be there. Always.
Right,
And especially having two boys, I feel like I hear all the time, like, oh, my kids never acted like that. Or, people have all kinds of judgment, or maybe they had fertility issues. So just seeing a child activates them. Or some people just don't like kids, and that's
right,
okay.
right.
But worrying about what other people think and being considerate of others are two different things.
Yeah, I I always keep in the back of my head that you never know what somebody else is going through. I totally
Exactly,
get that.
exactly.
But that's
Yes,
very different
yes,
in being understanding and open to that somebody else might be having a bad day, okay,
yes,
than to really giving an SHIT what that person has to say if they didn't like what I
right,
did, right? And I know that
right.
I could say shit on my own show. But
But
yeah, you know what I mean.
but it's also like you're not going to be able to help your child in that moment if you're
Yeah,
so worried about everyone else. And
right.
my especially my youngest, my husband and I used to call it dead fish.
Yeah,
He would like have a tantrum in public and then go like limp. So we'd literally be carrying him out and he'd be like flailed all over. And I would just feel the stares. And it got to the point where I would almost laugh because I
yeah,
was like, I don't care if it looks like I'm kidnapping him. Like,
right.
I don't care what you think. It's kind of funny, and this is motherhood, and I know my child. I know when we get him fed and home, he's okay. We missed his nap. It's our fault. It just makes it so much easier. And that's another thing too, like just finding the humor in it is huge because there's so many funny things. And that's one of the chapters too. You can't make this SHIT up
Yeah,
because you will find yourself in situations that are so ridiculous. You can either laugh or you can freak out.
right.
And a lot of times it's laughing because it's really funny. It's things you couldn't even come up with.
Yeah, no, I can only.
So I'm like along for the adventure. Like I find the humor in everything. And so do my boys.
But it's a beautiful attitude to have.
Hmm.
Look, there's severity in some
Hmm.
situations, but there's also joy and levity
Yes.
in
Yes.
other situations. So
Right.
or to be able to look at those tougher situations with a maybe with a smile on your face, giving yourself
And
a little
even for
grace.
Yeah, yes, and forgiving yourself
Yeah,
too.
yeah,
Like, forgive yourself because the mom guilt is always gonna be there. And yes, is it useful to look back sometimes? Yes, because reflecting back, "Okay, what could I have done differently?" is good, but I think just embracing it and saying, "I'm human, and
right,
next time I'll do it better." And
right.
now, like, I apologize to my kids all the time. If I lose my cool, then I come back, I'm like, "All right, guys, I'm sorry. You didn't deserve that." And then I try to do better the next time, but I know I'm never gonna be perfect. They are well aware I'm never gonna be perfect, and that's okay because they don't have to be perfect either.
Cindy, it really is a beautiful gift that you're giving them. It really is for boys, right? To have
I
that
hope so.
relationship with their but to have that
Yes.
relationship with the first woman that they're
Right.
having a
Right.
relationship with. It's their mother. Yes, absolutely. But
Yes.
that sets the tone for the relationships that they'll have with women in their lives going
Yes.
forward. So it really
And
is a
their inner
beautiful
voice
gift.
too. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, let's finish part 2 of what I had originally asked
Okay.
before because the book is just out. But
Right,
have
right.
people come back to you with feedback on this is now setting in motion a long-term transformation for me?
Yes. Yes. So even before the book, I would find myself talking to some new moms and just giving like not so much advice, more like one sentence of something that worked for me or oh yeah, this I was in this phase too and I've had people come back and say, I really thought about what you said and
Mhm.
I that really changed the way I look at this. Or I really thought about what you said and, you know, I'm able to laugh now because I know everybody goes through it. So I've definitely had people come to me and say, something you said really changed the way I look at this.
That's
And
great.
that's huge to me because being able to shift your brain is so powerful. Like, it's like, it reminds me of Wizard of Oz, where it's like you had the power all along, like,
Right.
because if you reshape the way you see something, it changes everything. And
Right.
it's a little shift you've had the power to do all along. And it's almost like, okay, I give you permission to make that shift.
And when the pebble drops in the ocean
Hmm.
or the river, the ripple grows. So all
Yes.
it is to how we opened up the show is it's one small step, right? It's one small
Yes.
change that leads you in a different direction.
Yes. And I think that's what keeps people stuck because I feel like I see this in people who want to like lose weight or change their bodies. If you only see the huge changes you could make, it's so easy to be like, "I don't have time for that,"
Right.
or "I can't do that right now. That's too big." So that's where the small changes, you can do them because you can keep them consistent.
Right.
And then when you realize it's working, you're like, "Oh, that's a very easy change. I can keep that in my life." And then the more you do that, the more you wanna keep adding stuff in.
So if someone is listening today and they feel
Mhm.
stuck, what's
Mhm.
one small change or piece of advice that you can give them to start to make that ripple happen for them?
I think the biggest thing is find a way to get back in touch with yourself. So whether that's journaling, whether that's finding the quiet, whether that's just saying, I deserve to be heard too. What
Mhm.
do I need right now? Because as soon as that baby comes, everything is about feeding, changing, taking care of that baby. Well, you know what? I need to take care of myself too. What am I missing right now? What's the one thing right now that I need more of? Do I need more time? Do I need more sleep? Do I need to have some fun? Do I need to wake my brain up a little or have an adult conversation? Like, what do I need right now? Just asking yourself that question and getting quiet and calm enough to hear the answer starts to open doors because
Yeah.
it's like saying, I matter too.
Right, absolutely. What's the next evolution of the book? Does it turn into a part 2? Does it turn into retreats? Does it turn into like where do you see it going?
I don't know, but I should probably have an answer to that question.
Or
I would like,
where do you feel
yeah.
it going?
Well, I'm definitely not done writing, I know that, but I don't know if it will be a part 2 of this book. But I definitely would like to find some way to connect with more moms. So whether that's small workshops or speaking engagements, something where I can still have interaction because I do really enjoy talking to people one-on-one,
Mhm.
and I just have this desire to look into people's eyes and say, "It's okay. Like, it's gonna be okay, I promise." Because I
Right.
can just even in the supermarket, if you go to the supermarket in the middle of the day, you could probably find at least 5 moms that just look like they are just trudging through the day.
Zombies, right, like a
Yes,
zombie.
and, like,
Yeah,
that hopeless look, but
yeah,
it does get better, and there are things you can do to help
yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
I'm so excited, and I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. Conversation with my sister, Cindy, and I was like, "Oh my god, Cindy, wait a minute, she just wrote a book. We gotta get her on the podcast." I'm honored that you're here. I'm so excited, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, and something else about the book too, if you take away the motherhood aspect,
Mhm.
each point can be applied to life too.
Good.
Like, it's just some solid general life tips. For moms, yes, but it applies to everyone
Well, good, and
across the board.
I'm really happy that you said that because
Mhm.
to the example that I used earlier, my business was my baby. Everything that you said was what I went through. Different
Mhm.
capacity. I wasn't taking
Right.
care of another physical human being, but I was taking care of something that felt like it was birthed from me,
Yes.
in a sense, in a figurative sense. Before we go, I ask every guest the same question because I believe the stories we leave behind say so much about how we showed up in this world. So here is
Mhm.
my question to you. What is one
Okay.
story, big or small, that you hope people remember you for?
Hmm. I think maybe the one story I would have to say is the chapter of "You just can't make this SHIT up," because it's so ridiculous, and I'm almost proud of it because we got through it and we laughed, but one day my little one was napping, and that was always the time that I would spend one-on-one time with my 3-year-old. He would
Mm.
usually choose Play-Doh. So I put the baby down upstairs. I came down. I said, "Win, I just have to go to the bathroom real quick." I always went to the bathroom with the door open because I needed to see everything. He closed the door, I think, because he was mad that he had to wait for me,
Yeah.
and he put the child-proof lock up.
No.
He, like, hid it up. So now I'm essentially locked in the bathroom, and he did not mean to lock me in there, he just thought he was being funny, and he couldn't undo it. And I'm trying to tell a 3-year-old how to open a child-proof door
Oh,
lock that his little hands can't do. There's no phone. My phone is out in the kitchen somewhere. I instructed him to go grab my phone. He went to find it, wouldn't fit under the door. I instructed him how to do a touch screen, had no idea, couldn't unlock the phone. So I was panicking. I rammed myself against the door like you do, like you see in movies. It
right.
did not budge.
Oh, no.
And we were on the first floor, but it's a raised, our first floor is raised. So it was quite a drop out the window onto the air conditioning unit. And I was like, definitely going to break something if I try to haul myself out the window. So I looked at a grocery cart cover I had drying on the shower because I used to cover the grocery cart for him to sit in.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, he had his boots on because we had been trying them on just earlier, thankfully. I instructed him how to pull a stool over to the sliding door on the deck, get the lock open, go out onto the deck, go down into the snow under the bathroom window, and I lowered the grocery cart cover with a tall scarf that had also been drying.
Oh, my God.
He very carefully put my phone into the Ziploc part. He listened to everything because it was covered in snow too. So if it had fallen, that was it. And I pulled it up and I had to call the police. And I had to tell, because we had just moved, I didn't have any neighbors' numbers. It was the middle of the day. I had to instruct the police officer to come around to the backyard. So he walks through our backyard. He sees my 3-year-old standing there in the snow. He sees me hanging out the window, and he had to come into the house. And it took him 3 tries to get that child-proof
Wow.
lock, but he got it out, and we all just laughed. Like, once he realized I wasn't drunk, I
Right.
wasn't having a breakdown.
Right.
I know there's a record somewhere of me from at the police station. I don't even want to know, but we all just laughed. And then my 3-year-old got to be the hero because he listened to everything. But it
Yeah.
was just so ridiculous. And it also taught me, like, okay, in those moments, you feel like you're panicking and the walls are closing in, but I figured it out. And he figured it out and we
Yeah.
made it. So with each situation that's happened, yes, it's a funny story, but we know we can do it now. Like, anytime we get in those stressful spots, you feel so good after because you're like, I can do this. Like, I can survive this and I can, like, come out better. So that's one of my favorite stories.
That is absolutely that is amazing because it had like a MacGyver kinda
Yeah.
thing to
And
it,
it sounds made up. It's so
and I
ridiculous.
yeah, and I thought like, "Is she kidding that all of this happened?" But what is so telling about all of that is your attitude throughout, and that I think is, for me, what spoke to
Yeah,
me is so key. It's your attitude. You didn't scream at
right.
him. You didn't go
No.
ballistic on him. You just said, "How can I calmly get myself out of this
Yes.
situation?"
And calmly is the key word because I
Yeah.
surprised myself that I could find that calm.
Yeah.
And I had to say, okay, I have to stay calm. I'm the one in charge. So
Great.
I surprised myself with that. And that gives me more courage to do it again in the next crazy situation
I
because they
love it.
keep happening.
I love it. No, I love it. I love it. And thank you so much for sharing that. That was amazing. And I think that that's such a very telling note to end on, right? Calm,
Mhm.
staying calm in
Yes,
life. So
and laughing.
yeah, and laughing and laughing.
Yeah, it's funny.
Thank you. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for sharing everything and thank you
Thank
for
you,
being part
Dawn.
of the story today. And I want to thank everyone for tuning into this episode of Dawn of a Story. If you heard something today that moved you, made you laugh, or made you think, please share it with someone you love. Please like and subscribe to the show. And if you're feeling brave, I'd love to hear your story by commenting below. It helps other story lovers find us too. If you'd like to reach out to Cindy, she can be reached through her website, cindycapriowolf.com. and I'll put that in the show notes. Also, her book is available through Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Walmart.com. Until next time, keep listening, keep sharing, and keep telling your story. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you so much for being
Thank you,
here.
Dawn.
Thank you.